It's good to have you join us this beautiful Sunday evening on Ogtv. The program is Word of Art, where we bring you interactive and interesting topics to promote visual art. My name is Miriam Usman, and the Word of Art is, of course, that place where you need to be to know more about the art world, the art industry. Don't forget, the Word of Art is proudly sponsored by Prince Yemisi Shillon, legal practitioner, Africa's largest private art collector, chairman and grand donor of the Omoba Yemisi Chairman Museum of Art. The Word of Art is where we bring you interesting guests, where they get to tell you about the Word of Art, tell you interesting things you should know. And the second segment is where we call the quotable quotes, where you get to be inspired by words of wisdom from the arts world. The third segment is where you get to participate on the program by calling us and asking questions on the program. After this break, I will be introducing our guest, and I can't wait to have you meet our guest. Amazing clips from some of our work, the work of our guests on the program today. Just before I introduce our guests on the program, let me quickly remind you that art has the power to transform, to illuminate, to educate, to inspire, and to motivate you. How does art do all of this? Now, these and many more are what you will be getting on the program Word of Art. Our guest today is Femi Ogunsheye, who was born in the commercial city of Kano State. He started art at an early age by drawing, modeling, and composing drawings to form artworks, of which he was rewarded. He got his Bachelor of Art Education from the University of Benin, and he did his NYSC in Anambra State, Nigeria. He also bagged his master's degree in Educational Administration and Planning. He has staged several solo art exhibitions and has participated in several group exhibitions in Kano, in Kaduna, Abuja, Lagos, and Ogun State, Nigeria. He is presently the Vice Chairman, Society of Nigerian Artists, Ogun State Chapter, and he has taught art in both private and Nigerian curriculum in several schools in Nigeria with over 20 years of experience in teaching. Some of his students are now professional artists here in Nigeria. Femi Ogunsheye is of the view that every child is a potential artist if guided right to find his specific discipline in the field of arts. And he's here with us, full flesh, and he's here to give us a lot about the art world. Welcome to the program, sir.
Yeah, good evening, Miriam.
It's good to have you. I mean, we've looked forward to having you on the program today, and it feels so good.
Yes, I'm delighted to be here.
Your profile says a lot, but let's start with the part where you almost want to travel the whole of Nigeria, because you started from Kano, now you're in Ogun, you've been to University of Benin. What's the experience like for you?
Yeah, thank you. To me, art is life, and wherever you find yourself, there is always the opportunity for you to excel in art. I was born in Kano, just like you have read. That was when my dad was there, and later I was transferred to Lagos. And I started art from Kano by drawing, by painting, by picking junks, nylon, bottles, would assemble them together to create an art piece. And people love those things I assembled together. And they say, oh, I love this. Can I have it? And of course, because it's something I did out of pleasure, I say, no, no problem, you can have it. And then they give me some stipend, and there I developed my interest in art. I could remember a friend of my father, he encouraged me a lot while we were in Kano. So after that, he was transferred to Lagos, and I did my secondary school in Ogun State. Then from there, I moved on to Taisholari University of Education. It was Ogun State College of Education in Ijebu-Ode, where I had my NCE. From there, I moved to University of Benin. I got my Bachelor of Art Education. Then I moved to Anambra for my youth service, where I had a solo art exhibition, and I got a letter of commendation by the state director. From there, I now moved back to Ogun State, where I established an art gallery, and after which I started teaching. And it has been fun, it has been interesting all along.
I mean, you can tell that 20 years of experience has to be fun. So it's safe to ask you the situation of art practice, education in Nigeria, because you've gone to lots of commercial states or cities in Nigeria. So let me ask you, how is art, how is the situation of art in this states? You have Kaduna, you have Kano, Anambra, in Benin. How is it like the practice of art?
Thank you. From what a lot of we artists are aware, some schools, they don't have art teachers. Not even some, a lot of schools, they don't have art teachers. Probably because of the fact that they do cultural and creative art, which is a subject that has music, drama, and visual art. And you are expected to have professionals to handle these disciplines. Most proprietors or proprietors will just get somebody that say he or she can teach art, and then they will not want to employ 3 people to teach just a subject. So the person will be the one to teach. And at times they will not even want to employ art teacher at all. They will say art. They will just neglect art and ask any of their teacher, hey, who can draw? That is their notion that art is just drawing. Forgetting that for you to be a scientist, for you to be a professional engineer, a qualified engineer, you will need to draw. And a lot of things requires drawing. You may sleep and wake up with an idea, maybe a new product. But if you cannot represent whatever image you have seen on paper, you will just be describing it in the air. Oh, the shape is like this. But if you have that foundation, that knowledge of drawing basic shapes, you will be able to represent whatever you have in mind. So, and the government too, they will need to sit up and ensure that at least they have art teachers in our schools, because some schools you will get there, you will find 10 English teacher, 15 maths teacher, chemistry teacher, and whatever, neglecting to employ an art teacher.
So you're saying art teachers should not just be one person, it should be like 2, 3 persons to teach art. It's not something just one person can handle in an ideal setting.
Exactly. Like with the place I teach now, we have teachers for separate discipline, and of course the economy too, probably is biting on them. They may not want to employ as much teachers, but at least get one that will teach the fine aspects of art, and then from there you can now still continue to build on that.
No, I think it starts with, getting people to understand there's a difference between fine art, theater, cultural dance, and all that before taking it to the process of teaching. But that's just by the way. Now, you've told of the situation of art in Nigeria, the way it's practiced in different countries. Now, let's talk about the challenges. You've given us the educational part. Okay. What are the challenges faced in arts, or the use of artworks in this states in Nigeria? And I would like you to give us emphasis from the northern states, because that's where you started your art experience from.
Okay, thank you, Miriam. I would like to draw your attention to what I experienced while I was in Kaduna. I was in Kaduna for 3 years.
Okay.
I took students out to the museum, national museums and monuments to see artifacts. Of course, there you see the Benin bronze, terracotta, the Nok terracotta, and all what have you. And on getting there, we met 2 tour guides, those that will take you around the artifacts. So one of them was willing and interested in taking us around. And so she was explaining that this is Erebeji. It's from the Yoruba culture that signifies the star symbol for twins. This is the Nok. And then the other was just seated. And I now asked her that, how come you are the only one taking us around? And she said her partner is not interested in discussing about statues because it's against her religion. And I felt bad.
Wow.
But you are being paid for this. So which means you just go there, sit down, at the end of the month, collect your salary and leave. So, and I don't know, maybe such is encouraged. When I was in Abuja too, I was in Abuja for about 7-9 years, thereabout. We at SNA, we were trying to see how we could lure the government so that they can have sculptural pieces in parks, at roundabout, at strategic places, but to no avail. And I kept wondering, if you go to...
Why is that?
If you probably still because of people in power and religion, I must tell you the truth. So, and if you go to Saudi Arabia, you go to Dubai, so then we now Google Saudi Arabia, sculptures in Saudi Arabia, you will see a lot. The same thing in Dubai and some of these Arabian countries. But it's like we have a lot of extremists here in Nigeria that we not want to see things like this. So it's a big challenge, and it's not making art to sell, to soar as expected. So a lot of this bottleneck, then coupled with the situation of the economy in the nation. You know, you need to take care of your basic needs first. You need to feed, clothe yourself, accommodate yourself before you could go on aesthetics. And then, you know, sculptural pieces, if someone should tell you that this work is 500,000, you first of all think of school fees. This is September.
Yes.
You think of the number of children you have and everything. So it's a big challenge. Apart from those who are keenly interested in art, those are the ones that patronize us.
All right. So we will go on this break where we get to show you more of our guest work, and he has a lot to tell you about composing junks, which is one part we will be discussing after this break. So please stay with us. You're still there. It's a World of Art on Ogtv, where we bring you interesting, educative, informative, and interactive topics to promote visual art in our society. Don't forget, World of Art is proudly sponsored by Prince Yemisi Shillon, legal practitioner, Africa's largest private art collector, grand donor and chairman of council, Yemisi Shillon Museum of Art. And yes, you can join in on the conversation, join in through our various social media platforms, and soon the phone line will be open. Please call us and let's have this discussion with Mr. Femi Ogunseye, and he's been telling us a whole lot on the topic of discussion. So just before we went on that break, you were telling us the situation of arts in various states in Nigeria, with special focus on the north, and you've told us a lot. Now let's talk about your work. We have some of them with us here. We have this, what is this called?
Yeah, this is a sculptural piece, and it's made out of fiberglass.
Okay.
It's a sculpture in the round, and then it's for entertainment and for visual aesthetics. So it's the title is Alushekere, that is the maracas player, popular in the western part of Nigeria. At times you have them in the King's Palace, where they sing praises of the Oba to wake him up, and then whenever they are having ceremonies, they are always there, and they are never shy, no matter what you do to them, because there's something called Orole, which has to do with the tradition of bringing their children into the profession. So there's no way you can intimidate them. So they are never shy. So that's what I represented here.
Fiberglass.
Yes.
You used to do this whole beautiful artwork.
Yeah.
How accessible is it, and how is it expensive? Is it affordable? Is it something one can go into or major into?
Yeah, it depends on your interest. It's not very expensive, but the process is a little bit long.
Yes, tell us about the process.
Yes, you start from the sketch, just like I said earlier. Whatever you plan to do, you start from the sketch where you have the drawing, after which you now prepare your armature, that is metal structure, which will have like the skeleton of what you are planning to do.
Okay.
So after that, then you will now put your wire mesh on it. Then you now use your clay to create exactly what you have here. So after using the clay, then you will now rub your separator, which could be palm oil or engine oil, on it. Then you now mix your cement, and then you now apply cement. Before you do that, you now separate, because you are going to cast them separately before you combine them together, before you couple them. So you need to now separate, like this was removed so that I could cast this separately. So once you now separate with thin zinc, the one they use in
all of these things are in this sculpture.
No, they are not.
Okay.
So once you now separate this, then you now put your cement all over. Then you pour cement all over, not leaving any space. Allow to dry for, let's say, 3-5 days. Then you now get your mold by removing this cement, and then you now probably discard your clay or keep it somewhere. So the mold is what you are now going to cast this out from. So the mold is negative. So you now put in your oil again as the separator. You clean it up, put your oil, then mix your polyester resin, accelerator, and catalyst. It requires some technique to mix.
So how long does this take to do all of this?
It could, depending, you can do this, let's say, in 3 weeks or 2 weeks. It takes time actually, because you need to allow it to dry, and then you need to just take time to put the details. So once you now couple it, then you still clean it up and then paint, and then you patinate with gold.
So how is this different from every other form of artwork?
Should I say it's different? This is a sculpture which requires casting. We have carving, which is another aspect of sculpture, where you use chisel and mallet. Okay. Then we also have modeling, which you can use direct cement to produce an artwork or plaster of Paris.
Okay, we have this other one behind us.
Yes.
This one is obviously the northern setting, because it has this.
The mono.
Yes. So tell us, what's your idea behind that work?
Yeah, now because of my knowledge while I was in Kano, I witnessed a lot of these herdsmen going around, and I read a little bit about them because they are always with their cattle, and then they hold their musical instruments in order not to feel bored. So they just play with one leg up, after which they interchange the leg because they have to stand for a long period while with their animals. So I got inspired by that, and I did that, which you could see there, playing the guitar with his stick behind and a pouch.
Definitely, that's a whole representation of who they are. I mean, even without knowing them or seeing them, this is expected to give you a picture, image of who they are. I mean, there's a whole lot we would love to talk about your work, but let's just talk about SNA, Society of Nigerian Artists. Yes, and probably you could use Ogun State as a case study. So far, how would you describe your impact in the society, especially in our immediate environment?
Yeah, the SNA has been a very great impact on the society. Take, for example, we are organizing students SNA, where we go to tertiary institutions and secondary institutions to encourage students. We take materials there, we give them materials, we organize art competitions and art programs and workshops for them, because we have some that are extremely talented, but they are confused, or some people are trying to confuse them out of taking art as a profession. But if they see people from the SNA coming to their school and explaining to them the importance of art, they will be interested. And we do organize, like this October 1st that is coming, we are organizing art competitions for schools, of which we plan to come here to Ogtv to stage the competition. And then apart from that, we do have exhibitions either as a group or solo, where people will exhibit their works, we invite people, and we do whatever we can do in the society.
So shortly, just tell us how we can, that people who are watching who would love to be part of this in their various states, or even in Ogun State, how can one become a member? Are there formal procedures to follow to become a member of this society?
Yes, once you get to any state, if you ask for the Society of Nigerian Art, and then you look for their chapter, you obtain the form, and then you attend meeting, then you are a member. Even as a student, you can also be a member once you are given the opportunity to come, if you see them in your school.
Okay, I think we'll have a call. Good afternoon, Ade. Thank you so much for calling us.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes.
I have two questions for the gentleman in the studio.
Go ahead, please.
Number one, what year was he in Kano? Because I live in Kano. Secondly, is he coming to UK for exhibition of this wonderful work? So that's two questions.
All right, thank you so much, Ade, for calling. So yes, Ade wants to know the year you were in Kano.
Yeah, thank you. I was born in Kano, middle 60s, and we left in 1977 when my dad was transferred. And then, in respect of the exhibition in UK, right? Yes, if I'm invited, definitely I will come. And I'm even planning a solo next year or thereabout.
All right, there you have it, Ade. He's probably going to come, so expect Mr. Femi for an exhibition. So before we wrap up on the program, because time is not by our side, we would want you to give your final words on the program today, and something for our sponsor. We'd like to give our feedback to our sponsor. What is that one thing you want to give out there?
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. Barrister Yemisi Shilon is 1 in a trillion. From what I've seen and from his contribution to art in general in Nigeria and in Africa and in the world, he has done a lot. And I will still want people like that who could spend on art. We will still want them to participate and also sponsor art program. So he has passion, and the passion is beyond limit, which he has been able to use to encourage artists all over. So we thank him a lot
All
for
right.
sponsoring this program.
We have to take this one because time is not by our side.
Okay.
How can I convince my child to develop interest in art? This is coming from, okay, there's no name here, but he's sending this message from Bariga.
Yes, to convince your art, one, let the child have enough material. Naturally, human being can scribble. In as much as you can scribble, that is the beginning of art, and it's moved to abstract, which is probably the end of art. So with scribbling, you now encourage the child to watch cartoon and things like that.
All right, there you have it. Time is not by our side. I mean, there's a whole lot we would love to take, and we get your messages, your messages from our social media. We apologize that we cannot go further than this. Until I see you next week, my name is Miriam Usman. Just before I go, I want to say thank you so much for coming on the program. I enjoyed every bit of it.
The pleasure is mine. I will wish to come some other day. Thank you.
Nice, nice. And that will be all for Word of Art this week. Let me quickly remind you that art has the power to transform, to illuminate, to educate, to inspire, and motivate you. Do not forget that. Also, Word of Art is proudly sponsored by Prince Yemisi Shilon, legal practitioner, Africa's largest private art collector, grand donor, and chairman of Council, Yemisi Shilon Museum of Art. I am Miriam Usman. Until I see you next week, please be safe. Bye for now.